Hi, this is Jeff from Prog Metal Zone, and I'm here with the guys from FreqsTV. Can you let us know who you guys are?
Hi Jeff, greetings from Munich. Okay, so I'm from the U.S. I'm originally from South Carolina, but I went to film school in New York City and started doing documentaries and independent film, and also working as a lighting technician in New York. And then I married a German woman and moved to Germany several years ago. And while I was producing another web series about local Munich bands, I met Kai, who's a local cameraman. I can let him explain what he does. And that's kind of how we connected. Kai?
Yeah, I grew up in Munich. I always wanted to do something with music and make documentaries about it, but I'm only a cameraman. So one day I stumbled over Randy's YouTube channel about Munich bands, portraying them, and this is what I wanted to do all the time. And from that on, this was like 3 years ago from now on, I think. And from that point, it evolved from Munich bands to worldwide bands.
Yeah, I would say that the way that evolution took place was that we were doing the Munich bands and we wanted to do something a little bit bigger and create something that didn't exist, and so we just kept having discussions about what that could be and talked about places where that could already live, existing channels or existing companies, media companies who might be somebody to pitch that to, and in the end we just decided to start doing it ourselves. And that we launched FreqsTV officially in January of last year. So it's been 1 year. Yep.
What is your niche in the marketplace? And are you covering progressive bands only, or are you branching out into other kinds of music?
Well, so far we've done maybe 5 series. No, the first series that we really started was Munich Unsigned, which was local bands. And it was all rock music. So, I mean, anything from death metal to post-rock. We did everything in between. And then we started a series with FreqsTV called Ghosts of the Road. And that was a partnership we had with Guitar Magazine. And this was also still rock bands, anything that was rock related. And so we've had, everybody from death metal like At the Gates to Chuck Reagan, Against Me, and a lot of stuff in between, shoegaze with A Place to Bury Strangers, and also some prog, so Protest the Hero and Amorphous. So I would say anything that's in the rock and metal world, that's the area where we felt maybe there was a lack of good quality documentary filming going on backstage.
Yeah, because I noticed a lot of videos out there are more interview style, where you'll see a guy on camera with a microphone and talking off the cuff. This seems to be more, again, like you said, documentary style. So maybe that's, would you feel that's your niche, and how are you getting the word out?
Absolutely. I mean, I think we want to offer an alternative to the usual band sitting on the couch being interviewed with a microphone. And I come from a documentary background. I've made a feature-length documentary, and I love rock docs. I'm a fan of rock documentaries, and I think some other genres like pop music and hip hop and things, they get a lot more good quality video coverage with a lot of the networks that already exist. But I wasn't seeing a lot of serious films being made about rock and metal. It often tends to be funny videos, kind of poking fun at ourselves for listening to music that's on the edge. But I think we all really take it seriously. I mean, it's not just, something that's, funny. I think we can also laugh at ourselves and have a good time. But I wanted to make films that also were serious and touched on some of the important elements of what it is to be in a band today, and the struggle that I think a lot of musicians face when they're touring or trying to make a record, or just trying to exist, or even transitioning to becoming a full-time musician that gets paid a normal wage. So, and this I didn't think was being represented.
Good. Going over very well. Every time I post a video, I get a lot of comments. People seem to really appreciate it. Is this becoming a real business for you guys, or is it more of a hobby right now? And you
So
don't have to answer that if you don't want to.
no, it's good. Of course, all of this started as a DIY thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Kai has his own production company with camera equipment. They work and do television shoots and so forth. And we also have another partner who has another film production company. And we kind of combine these, and then we have a number of volunteers and core people who sort of volunteer to be a part of this. But we are actively turning it into a legitimate operation, a legitimate, video channel, maybe even news channel at some point. But that's the goal, and we're kind of exploring how that's possible. Just like with bands, making videos on YouTube and making films is always a struggle. There's not a lot of funding just floating around for it. And if you want to do something new and engaging and digital, you kind of have to find a way to compete with the noise in the YouTube world. So we're actively exploring that. This year we hope to be able to roll out a legitimate. We're legitimate, but a real company that we can hopefully sustain. At least the costs of what we do and keep it going.
And where do you feel the future of video is going? Because it seems to be changing all the time. Now we have a lot of live streaming that's going on, which is very exciting. And where do you feel that your niche is going to be as the technology keeps getting different and improved?
So, are you more referring to the niche? In which niche are we in? So,
that could be part of it.
I would say, first of all, in terms of live streaming, we're not yet really a live streaming event because we're making story-based documentary interviews. So I don't know that we necessarily need to be too much involved with live streaming. On the other hand, I think there's a lot of noise and a lot of video out there, and it's hard to find maybe what you're looking for. You can find any of your favorite bands on YouTube playing live, but it's generally low quality fan footage.
Yes.
At least for us, we want to be the platform for rock documentaries. We want to create a place where people can go and search for their favorite band and find videos about them that we create, and maybe offer another product like a Netflix would or Amazon, but that's really tailored towards music documentaries. And at the moment,
kind of a niche channel for high quality documentaries.
Absolutely.
Awesome. That's exciting. So who have been some of your favorite bands to interview so far, and do you feel you've gotten some good some interesting tidbits from the bands that maybe they didn't talk about before?
The thing that comes to mind immediately is when we filmed At the Gates from Sweden. This is a classic death metal band from Sweden, and they reunited in 2008, and they just recently put out a new record, the first one in 15, 12, 20 years or something. And they opened up to us about the financial situation of being in, a death metal band, even a band that is legendary like them and does big tours and tours all the time, how they have to keep regular jobs. So I think this was one of the videos that first we sort of started to address these real world problems, and they were open about it. And then it seemed like people started to open up to us about the things that they feel or the struggles they have on tour, family issues, financial issues, of course, issues in the industry, issues with, touring, the necessity to tour. So I think we're only scratching the surface so far, but I think some of that, I would say At the Gates was the example that I thought of first. Anything else? We've met a lot of cool bands, and in general, everybody's awesome, and
that's great.
They're normal people.
You guys play music too?
Yes.
I think you play, Randy. You play bass, right?
Yep, and so does he.
Yeah.
All right.
We're both bass players.
Bass players and pedal enthusiasts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody involved with FreqsTV is a musician, and most of us play in bands and are actively involved in the Munich scene. So organizing shows, supporting. I mean, of course, we support the local scene with our other channel, Munich Unsigned, which you see a little bit of it in the FreqsTV realm. But yeah, we're actively involved with the local scene, all the clubs, all the local promoters, and the bands we're connected to. So yeah, this is a big part of our life, and it just happens to be that we're also film people. We both professionally are filmmakers, so we're just combining these two worlds.
But I think
that's
it
really
helps
exciting.
a lot. Yeah. So
How is your how would you say you guys have grown in audience size from like when you first started, no name, no nothing, to where you are now, and how are you going to get to the next level?
Loads of cash. No.
Yeah.
I remember the first video we released was with Protest the Hero. And I remember we sat together, three of us, at a coffee shop in Munich and, bought a coffee so that we could use their 15-minute wireless access, because we don't have great free Wi-Fi like we do in America over here. And, we released the first video, on YouTube together, sent out the press release to the press, and then waited, and then it was like 2 views, all right, 4 views, and the night kind of rolled on, and then at about 2 o'clock in the morning our time, just as I was getting home, Protest the Hero shared it, and then immediately it was like a few thousand views by the next morning. And this was without us having an audience, except for our friends and so forth. So, and from there, I wouldn't say it's always exponential, but as with each new band comes a group of new fans, and we've had a slow, steady growth. And then we had a big push at the beginning of the year when we started the Prog series, Into the Machine, with Opeth. That was a big break for us.
I'm sure.
And I mean, going into this year, we do have to start thinking more strategically about how we can get more audience, how can more people see it. But at the moment, we're very fortunate because, like you guys, the press shares our videos like news stories. And
Absolutely.
This is super cool. This is super helpful, and we're really appreciative of that support within the community of journalists that. We're taken seriously, and our stuff is shared and reshared and so forth. So at the moment, it's an absolute organic growth. There's no money going into marketing other than some business cards and stickers that we stick around in Munich. But
yeah.
And do you have anything?
I think the stickers are plastered all over the world.
Yeah. We just got one picture from Budapest, I think.
Yeah.
There's a few in the U.S. for sure.
Yeah, and in Tokyo, but these are other stories. Yeah, yeah.
So what's next? Any new bands on the horizon for interviews?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Can't tell us.
I think we'll keep it a secret, but but be assured, especially for the Prog fans, the Prog series that we're doing, Into the Machine, is still rolling on, and some of the big names are yet to come.
Since we're a webzine that covers progressive metal exclusively, what is it about that scene that really excites you, not musically, and where you feel it? I personally feel there's a lot of untapped potential. The music, there's so much incredible music coming out that's just not getting a lot of attention outside of progressive circles, and hopefully can get out there. So what attracts you to that scene, and do you feel there is a lot of room for growth?
I mean, me personally, so I discovered Dream Theater in 1994 when Awake came out.
Right.
And that changed everything for me. I mean, it was when I first started to learn bass, and I was like a Metallica fan, and in some of the older thrash bands and stuff. But then I heard Dream Theater's Awake. I even missed Images and Words. My older brother knew it. And he was like, that's Dream Theater, but I was 14 and just found out. And this really changed how what I looked for in music and how I played, actually. I was really inspired by John Mayung, the bassist. And and from that point on, I became a kind of avid collector of prog metal, more so even than prog rock. Prog rock kind of came a little later for me, and I was growing up in South Carolina, and there wasn't really a prog scene. You know, nobody else liked progressive music that I knew. You know,
Oh yeah.
if I said I liked Dream Theater, they kind of made fun about it. You know, so it was never the cool thing to do. You know, in the '90s, I remember it was particularly tough, and you had to find, you know, these underground bands by going to places like the Perpetual Motion board. I don't know if you remember that board. It still exists, I think, but
Really? No, don't know.
yeah, I'll send you a link to it.
All
And
right.
and of course, what Ken Golden has done with the laser CD, and you know, I would buy a lot of stuff from him online. He's in
Me
New
too.
Jersey. Yeah.
He was my main source until I started the webzine.
Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, props to Ken Golden for doing all that. And then I had a local store in South Carolina, which is now owned by a major chain, but they had a lot of metal, and so you could always find some prog stuff in there too. And I play in a prog rock band, prog rock, prog metal band, and I don't know. For me, it was always this really underground faction of metal that was maybe a little too nerdy for a lot of, you know, hardcore fans in the '90s. And in the 2000s, I feel like it started to pick up a little bit. It started to become a little bit cooler, you
Yeah,
know,
definitely.
and certainly bands like Protest the Hero and Animals as Leaders and a lot of these guys, they kind of brought this to a new audience, I think, this prog thing. And but yet I still think that there's room for improvement in terms of how much coverage those bands get and, you know, maybe appreciation. And of course, not everybody has to appreciate that kind of music, but this is
Right.
my way of doing my part to, yeah, share the bands that I really particularly love and admire and yeah, push the thing
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah, I think that you spoke about what is interesting about the scene, about the prog scene, and it's even if you look in the past, I mean, I think the biggest bands of the 20th century were prog bands like Pink Floyd or Genesis or even Queen. But on the other side, not so many people directly out themselves as prog fans or would say they are prog fans because it's nerdy. Like Genesis is uncool. You don't say you're a Genesis fan. I mean, I took
Right.
a quote from a Genesis documentary, but it is that way. Nobody goes around with a Genesis shirt, and it's changing nowadays. And it's also interesting when we go to shoots. Sometimes I expect a band to play in a big venue with thousands of fans, and then they're kind of unknown, and then somebody else, which we maybe will see in our series, is playing in the biggest halls, and they are coming people from the old prog scene are now coming to the concerts, even to the Opus shows. I mean, Opus is something different, but it's a very vibrant scene. It's also a secret scene. Nobody expects the scene to be that big,
Right.
and yeah, it's great.
You know, one thing I forgot to ask, since the quality of your videos are so good and they do have a very, you know, polished, professional, real look to them, do you think there's any possibility that you guys will be hired to do like full concert films, or is that a goal that you want to do like concert style documentaries? Like, or more what I'm getting at is rather than 4 or 5 minute video interview clips, maybe do full hour-long documentaries on some of the, you know, the bands that are interested in that.
That's our secret goal.
Ah,
Yeah, and now it's
So
not secret anymore.
Don't tell
that's
anyone.
no secret.
No, I mean, absolutely, absolutely. I've made a feature film in the past, did the festival circuit, the whole thing. We do have an interest in doing long form documentaries, and maybe concert shoots as well. We have done a sort of hybrid of the two. Before FreqsTV started, we did a sort of tour documentary for Rhapsody of Fire, which was a live concert shoot mixed with a documentary format, and they released it online in 6 parts. And so this was kind of the beginning of what we thought we could do with FreqsTV. So we were definitely interested in not only making free 5-minute videos on YouTube, but yeah, supplying even more long-form rock documentaries to fans.
We really need that in this world. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, it was a big deal to go to a midnight show of the Led Zeppelin film, The Song Remains the Same. And it drew crowds. You know, there was like Rocky Horror style crowds. And I remember The Last Waltz, which I actually hadn't seen until recently. It's phenomenal. You know,
Absolutely.
yet I can't really personally think of any, you know, rock documentary over the last 20 years that's had that kind of an impact.
Yeah, there have been some great ones, though. I mean,
I'm sure they have.
but they're also, I think maybe another part of the problem is they're not all in one place, so that Jeff can go and say, you know what, I gotta watch another cool rock documentary, maybe discover a band I don't know about. Where can I go and find that? I mean, you could check out Netflix. They have a lot of stuff there. But I don't think I wouldn't consider it a comprehensive list of rock documentaries. And I think that this is kind of what we imagine the future to be, is to have some place where you can go and type in a band's name and find a bunch of films about the band, short films, long films, and so forth. So, and if we can contribute original films to that library, great. So.
Well, that's awesome. Well, congratulations, guys. You guys are doing a phenomenal job. I'm really glad to be able to speak to you and let our readers know more about what you guys are up to and what the future holds.
Thanks so much, Jeff. We really appreciate
welcome.
the support.
You're welcome.